And I invite you to join the room, and we will proceed with the next speaker, who is George Fugao, professor at Institute of Microbiology at the Chinese Academy of Sciences. We are really honored to have a representative of the Chinese Academy of Sciences today, and George Fugao will address contribution of microbiome research to planetary health.
Bonjour, good morning, everybody. 早上好, that's in Chinese. It's a great privilege for me to be here, to be the first speaker, talk something about One Health, microbiome, global health, and then planetary health. So look at what happened for the last 5 years. I was the Director General of China CDC during the pandemic. So I have been experienced everything from the very beginning with this pandemic. So human beings, we are encountering so much troubles, everything. And we have so many names, like One Health, global health, planetary health. But we are far way behind the microbes. They know what they should do. This is why we encounter so many variants and sub-variants of SARS-CoV-2. Let's see what we can do. We did this 15 minutes. So I will start with the WHO FAKE. That's a public health event of international concern. This tells us, there's no border for pathogens. There's no border for research, no border for science, all this. However, at the moment, I don't think all the politicians, they agree with this. This is the whole problem. Give your timeline, what we have already, the fix, public health emergencies of international concern. Starting from the pandemic influenza, H1N1, 209. We already have 8 fix. One of them, everybody remembered, is COVID-19. But, among these, we have Ebola twice, Zika, polio. Now we are still under the fake for monkeypox. So monkeypox is still in the fake event. And it's still a serious problem in some African countries, including Sierra Leone, when in 2014, we had this Ebola outbreak. I was there for 2 months, between September and November, during 2014, working together to get the Ebola down. So WHO also mentioned about disease X. What does disease X mean? Disease X means, it's something we don't know. Some pathogens we never met. Or some pathogens we can name them. So this is in the WHO, they named in 2018 for this disease X. Most of them, they are viral diseases. In 2024, they updated this list, adding more of the bacteria, especially for the anemia, antibiotic resistance bacteria. So this is, you can go there to the WHO webpage, you will see this. So now, because we will focus a day meeting here for One Health. So what is One Health? So One Health from WHO, it's an integrated, unifying approach that aims to sustainably balance and optimize the health of people, animals, and ecosystems. Think about the definition of the health by the WHO from their constitution in 1948, when we had the WHO established. It's saying health means in 3 aspects: physical, mental, social. So these 3 aspects are very, very important. This is, one of the so-called One Health components. We also have another word called UHC, Universal Health Coverage. That's WHO. That tells you the health for all. Health for everybody, for the poor and for the rich. Because we haven't done the good job in this aspect also global health. That means the partnership. This is why we are here together. We are talking about microbiome partnership. You know, partnership is important. I hope we plan to have a declaration. I hope that declaration will help us to realize microbiome is so important. Then, because Elon Musk is going to take us to Mars, so we have to think about another word. So we need another word, planetary health. So can you imagine, once we are in Mars, will get some microbes or some monsters? I think we don't know. Maybe we have something. We got to get prepared. This is why we have to study the microbiomes. You know, the microbes, the numbers, much larger than the human populations, much larger than the building block of my body. You know, I was built by 10 to the power of 13 cells, but the microbes I carried at least 10 times of my cell numbers. So you see, so this is why we have to think about microbiome and microbes. So this is so-called One Health: environment, human, and animals. Think about when we have the virus for COVID-19. And you know, from the very beginning, January 24th, 2020, me and my colleague, Chen Wang, and Peter Hoppe from Oxford, and Frederick Hayden from Virginia, we foresaw something in the early January, say a novel coronavirus outbreak of global health concern. So once you have a coronavirus, once you have a flu, they are global concern, that's for sure. You know, any flu, any corona, there may be some other arbovirus, they could be a global concern. So this is, you know, from the very beginning. Again, that also tells us we need a partnership. Give you a very, very quick about the human-infecting coronavirus. You know, you may remember 2002 SARS, and then you have the first one, 1965 but you know, it was found in Holland, the Netherlands, and then the second one, 2 years later, OC43. There you have L63, and then you have HK1. For the origin of the virus belongs to the Earth. The virus is for the universe. So look at HK1. Was first discovered by Kai Wa-Yuan from Hong Kong University. But when you trace back, someone from Brazil, they have stored some samples from pneumonia of unknown etiology, UAE, and they've already found in 1995, HK1 already in Brazil. And then we have SARS and we had COVID. While we are working so hard, we have been working so hard for the last 5 years, fighting against the pandemic. We have 3 sporadic cases of novel coronaviruses. That novel means it's never been found in the human beings, but they found in the human beings. It's from pigs and dogs. So this is why we have to think about all this, you know, planetary health, global health, and also we are calling for the WG, whole genome sequencing. Whole genome sequencing will help us. At the moment, in the whole world, we have some pressure. You know, some people are suspicious. There might be people, the scientists working so hard. You got the virus out from somewhere. But it doesn't matter you got it out or not. The virus is always there. You know, because the virus is everywhere, the microbes. So roughly about the emerging or re-emerging pathogens, and they are 75%, they are animal origins. This is why we are here for One Health. So now I'll give a very small story from my lab. What we are doing. In my lab, our approach for the microbe, so we have done a lot of work for the migratory birds with microbes. Microbes microbiome, especially for the influenza and coronaviruses, all these, you know, from migratory birds. And also live poultry markets in China, Southeast Asia. In China and Southeast Asia, they have such a habit. So they usually have some live poultry birds, you know, ducks or chickens to be killed in the field. And what we have done, we have nationwide surveillance of the avian influenza viruses in the live poultry market and also wild birds. We started with 2014. We have several publications in cell host microbes as Nature Communications, recently in Nature Microbiology. about H9N2. You know, H9N2 influenza virus worked as kind of incubators. You know, they provided segments of the genes of the influenza viruses. And also, you know, we did the AMR. So we sequenced so many things from AMR. This is our AR antibiotic-resistant genes. What we got from the low live poultry markets, LPM. So we published some papers. You can go and read this one with my name on. And also, we did a so-called catalog. So we did this microbiome for the catalog. So we did this, you know, one of the paper we called metagenomic analysis reviews the microbiome and resistome in migratory birds. You know, when you think about planetary health, global health, migratory birds plays a very, very important roles. This is unpublished data. So we keep doing this. We collected so many migratory bird samples. You know, we did all this analysis for the microbes and also for the ARG, antibiotic-resistant genes. Meanwhile, we also focus on, because salmonella is a problem you know, from the food. So we established something for the salmonella in China. Also did a global analysis for all the salmonella from the WGS for, you know, built up this atlas again. So this is, you know, just one of the examples. We did this temporal dynamics of the pulmonary serovirus of Salmonella antirrheica in China. So this one already published, National Science Review. And also we did the NMR from the Salmonella. This one recently also published in Nature Communications. And we did all this, you know, from the administrative research of China, try to see the different ST sequence types. So we got all this, you know, it's different kind of sequence types. Now we found something. We traced back one of them, for example, ST8333 sequence type that can trace back as early 2000. And then we did all this NMR atlas by build up the data from China, all the data from the world. Recently, we have this so-called a global atlas and drivers of antimicrobial resistance in Salmonella during 19,000 to 2023. This just coming out from Nature Communications. You can go read all this. These are good background or catalog as a reference for the future research. Now, I really want to come quickly to tell you what we have in China. Claude asked me, can you summarize what do you have in China? You know, for the Microbiome Federation or so-called organization. As you know, BGI is a very big sequencing company in China, BGI, Beijing Genomic Institute. You know, after the whole genome sequencing, they did something for the heat map. Their heat map, they got the first microbiome from a GAS sequencing they published earlier. Then in 2007, and in China, we set up the Chinese Academy of Sciences China Microbiome Initiative, led by Professor Liu Shuangjia, who was my, who took up the Director General of Chinese Academy of Sciences Institute of Microbiology for me. I was a DG, and he was a DG after that. And then we have a Chinese Dam Center. This is our so-called project. You know, we did 5 different kind of projects, including environment, human guards, and we also have a very good data mining and the data source. You can go on to check this CAS system. And Dr. Liu also established a journal called iMatter. This is the journal targeted to publish the microbiome papers. And also we have a national key research deployment. So one of the, actually is called Healthy Chinese Microbiome. So this project organized by Dr. Zhu Boli, or my colleague, and they did all this work. And we have a Westlake GARD project. There's a newly established university called Westlake University in Hangzhou, so they did all this. And Asia Pacific Biota, this is from Taiwan and Hong Kong. As you know, Taiwan and Hong Kong is part of China, but all these scientific organizations, they are independent. I hope. Claude asked me, so is it possible to get everybody together to have a federation? We are thinking whether we can get them together. And we also have a Chinese consortium for One Health. So this is under the Shanghai Jiaotu University, where I still the dean of the public health, global health college. So this is very brief introduction about One Health, microbiome, and also the contribution we might need for the microbiome research for the planetary health. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Gao. It's really a wonderful opening for the scientific part of this session. We can see the major importance of the One Health through your presentation.